On July 24, 2015, William Reuben Abron Jr., a 32-year-old individual, contacted the 911 dispatchers at the Jacksonville Police Department. The dispatcher was taken aback when Ebron reported the theft of his car, but what made the situation even more distressing was the fact that his girlfriend, Lana Laura Moore Barton's 21-month-old son, Lonzy Barton, had been taken along with the vehicle. Unbeknownst to everyone at the time, this incident would evolve into one of the most significant missing child cases in Jacksonville. As the investigation progressed, the police discovered several unsettling clues that hinted at a more sinister plot. Jacksonville, with a population of 970,000 as of 2022, holds the distinction of being the most populous city in Florida. It serves as the county seat of Duval County and is renowned for its vibrant art galleries, thriving music scene, and a plethora of museums catering to history enthusiasts. The city is also celebrated for its expansive park system and waterways, offering a perfect blend of urban living and outdoor escapades to alleviate the burdens of everyday life. Jacksonville not only provides ample recreational opportunities, but also boasts a relatively affordable cost of living, making it an attractive city for families. Although the crime rate in Jacksonville reached a staggering 53% in 2022, there are still neighborhoods that are considered safe and family-friendly. However, in 2015, a different kind of crime sent shockwaves through the city. At precisely 2:22 a.m. on Friday, July 24, 2015, 911 dispatchers received a distress call from Reuben Ebron, reporting the theft of his 1995 Honda Civic, a distinctive vehicle adorned in bright orange and black, from his residence at the Ravenwood apartment complex. The situation took a more serious turn when Ebron informed the dispatcher that his girlfriend's son, Lonzy Barton, was in the back seat during the incident. He described to the dispatcher how he attempted to chase after the car, but was unsuccessful. Shortly after law enforcement arrived at the Ravenwood apartment complex where Ebron resided with his girlfriend, Lana Laura Moore Barton, and her two children, 21-month-old Lonzy and his 5-year-old sister, Lily. Ebron explained to the officers that he was on his way to pick up his girlfriend from her job at Wacko's Gentleman Club, where she worked as a dancer. He had placed both Lonzy and Lily in the car to accompany him, but upon starting the car, he realized he had left something behind in the apartment. Leaving the children in the back seat with the car running, he quickly went back inside to retrieve his belongings. Upon returning, he noticed that Lily had followed him and wanted to watch TV instead of going to get Lana. He decided to put on the movie Aladdin and planned to bring Lonzy back inside to stay with his sister. However, as he exited the apartment, he saw the car being driven away. Ebron mentioned that he attempted to pursue the vehicle on foot, but was unable to catch up. Following questioning by the police, an Amber Alert was issued, and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office took charge of the investigation under the leadership of Sheriff Mike Williams and Chief Investigator Tom Hackney. Law enforcement officers conducted a thorough search of the area both on foot and by vehicle. After 15 minutes, Ebron's car was discovered a mile away from the apartment complex, with the keys still in the ignition. But Lonzy was nowhere to be found. Authorities were hopeful that if anyone spotted a child wandering the streets, they would report it. But unfortunately, no such calls were received. Upon reviewing the questions posed to Ebron, teams of officers conducted visits to the laundromat and gas station he claimed to have visited with Lonzy and Lily the day before. However, no significant findings were made in either location. By Friday morning, the community had rallied together to aid in the search for Lonzy. Residents from the Ravenwood apartment complex participated by distributing flyers and putting up missing persons posters in the vicinity. In addition, investigators reached out to Lonzy's biological father, Christopher Barton, who resided in Bakers County. Although officers visited his residence to inquire about Lonzy and his possible whereabouts, Christopher was eventually cleared of any involvement in the toddler's disappearance. Another team of officers visited Lana's workplace to question staff and patrons regarding any unusual occurrences the previous night. Staff members reported nothing out of the ordinary, stating that Lana behaved normally throughout her shift. Despite this, suspicions lingered around Ebron, particularly investigator Tom Hackney, who expressed interest in scrutinizing the man responsible for looking after the children. Ebron complied without resistance when asked to accompany officers to the police station for questioning. During the interview, Ebron reiterated his version of events from the previous night, emphasizing his routine of caring for the children in Lana's absence. Investigators maintained a casual approach, suspecting that Ebron might be withholding crucial information. Lana, too, was questioned by authorities and fully cooperated with the investigation. She confirmed leaving Lonzy and Lily in Ebron's care while she worked, mentioning that she last saw her son in good spirits before departing for work at 8:30 p.m. on Thursday night. Lana was permitted to depart since she had no further information to provide in the investigation. The officers also granted her the opportunity to spend some time with Ebron before his next round of questioning. As the police observed them through the camera during the breaks between interrogations, it became evident to the officers that both Ebron and Lana displayed concern for each other's well-being, which the investigators found peculiar considering they were dealing with a missing child. After Lana was allowed to leave the station, the officers returned to interrogate Ebron. The investigators began asking more suggestive questions and clarifying any inconsistencies in Ebron's statements. Eventually, he confessed to returning to the apartment to retrieve cocaine that he intended to sell when he went to pick up Lana from the club. Ebron's frustration with the police became apparent as he grew increasingly angry and demanded to know if he was being considered a suspect. Since there was no physical evidence implicating Ebron in Lonzy's disappearance, the police charged him with child neglect for leaving Lonzy and Lily in the running car while he went to obtain drugs for himself. Consequently, Ebron was detained at the county jail. With Ebron incarcerated, the police delved into his personal background and uncovered his disturbing criminal history. They discovered numerous court documents filed against Ebron in Duval County, dating back to 2005. These charges included armed robbery and assault charges brought against him by his ex-girlfriend. Ebron had also received probation for a grand theft auto charge. According to the court documents, Ebron was accused of harming both his ex-girlfriend and their son when he violently assaulted her while she was pregnant. He had also been accused of stalking by his ex-girlfriend. Additionally, he attacked one of her sisters, resulting in the sister's hospitalization. Ebron also made threats to shoot his ex-girlfriend's 12-year-old niece and had a pending drug charge from Bakers County. However, that was not the end of the story. The same ex-girlfriend who accused Ebron of assaulting her in their shared apartment on July 1st, 2015, brought forth new charges against him. This incident took place when she went to pick up the children they both had custody of. Shockingly, this assault occurred while Lana's children were present in the living room, painting a disturbing picture of Ebron. As a result, the police began to question whether there was more to Lonzy's disappearance than what their primary suspect was revealing. Despite their doubts, the search for Lonzy continued without pause. By Saturday, a team of over 100 police officers was deployed to search the nearby parks and wooded areas. Bloodhounds and other trained canines were also utilized in the search for the missing toddler. Helicopter searches were conducted over the densely forested regions in and around Jacksonville. Lonzy, with his blue eyes and blonde hair, was often described as an angelic child. His young life was filled with turmoil due to his unstable family situation, and people were desperately trying to locate him. On Sunday, July 28, 2015, police dive teams began searching the lakes and waterways in the vicinity of Jacksonville. They believed it was possible that a child of his age could have wandered into one of these bodies of water without adult supervision. However, as the days passed, the initial weekend search turned into a prolonged effort, yet there was still no sign of Lonzi. After 10 days of intensive searching, the police had to scale back their efforts as the chances of finding Lonzi alive started to diminish. The sheriff's office issued a public statement urging anyone with information to come forward. In response, the public set up a fund, raising a substantial amount of $122,800. This money was designated as a reward for anyone who could provide information leading to the discovery of Lonzi. Just when it seemed like the case was reaching a dead end, the police stumbled upon crucial evidence that took the investigation in a dark and twisted direction. Following an extensive search of the surrounding area, investigators made a significant discovery in the form of video evidence. A residential CCTV security camera captured footage of Ebron's orange Honda speeding down the road towards the location where the car was eventually found. Approximately 10 minutes later, the same camera recorded Ebron running away from the direction of the car and towards the apartment complex. Upon reviewing the timestamps, the police determined that Ebron had made a phone call 10 minutes after he was seen on camera running back. Armed with this video evidence, the police confronted Ebron, who was unable to provide a satisfactory explanation. Despite his insistence that he had not harmed Lonzi, the police suspected that Ebron had harmed the child and used the abduction as a cover-up. Ebron refused to answer any further questions and requested the presence of a lawyer during any future interactions with the police. Convinced of Ebron's involvement, investigators now turned their attention to Lorna, unsure if she had played a role in the cover-up. They were perplexed by the fact that, as a mother, Lorna would knowingly allow a violent individual to reside in the same apartment as her children. Furthermore, they were astounded that she permitted him to openly use and sell drugs in close proximity to her young children. After the surveillance footage was made public, Lorna was brought in for questioning. During her interview with investigators, it became apparent that she had been withholding information, leading to a heated exchange. Lorna disclosed that she had initially met Ebron while working as a dancer at Wacko's, where he was a regular customer and a primary source of drugs for herself and the other dancers. Their relationship evolved into a romantic one, fueled by their shared drug use. The police began to focus on Lorna's initial reaction to the news of Lonzi's disappearance on that fateful night. According to officers who were searching for Lonzi on foot that Friday, Lorna was interviewed while on her way home. During the questioning period, Lorna denied any knowledge of Ebron and claimed to be unaware of the incident. When confronted with her previous responses from the street interview, Lorna argued that she didn't fully understand the description of the child provided by the officer. In a prior interview, she had told the officer that she believed Lonzi might have entered the bedroom and overdosed on Ebron's drugs, suggesting that Ebron was attempting to cover up his actions. However, during the third interview, Lorna informed the officers that the story of Lonzi's overdose was rapidly spreading as a rumor in the area. Lorna also confessed that Ebron had called her on Friday morning and instructed her to find her own way home after work. She further admitted that she and Ebron had engaged in a heated argument before she left for work that evening, which was triggered by a bruise she discovered behind Lonzi's ear. Lorna also mentioned that Lonzi had been lethargic throughout the day and that a yellow substance had been oozing from his ear before she started her shift. Despite her confession, the police did not sympathize with Lorna and questioned her ability as a mother, particularly since she was aware of Ebron's violent history. On August 18, 2015, Lorna was charged with child neglect and providing false information to the officers during the investigation. She was detained at the county jail but released on a $50,000 bond 6 days later. However, Ebron remained incarcerated after investigators discovered that he had smuggled contraband and attempted to escape during a court appearance with information provided by another inmate. Ultimately, a court judge ruled that Ebron was prohibited from having any contact, direct or indirect, with anyone involved in the case, following the prosecutor's acquisition of recorded conversations between Ebron and his ex-girlfriend. He was permitted to communicate with his parents, while supervised by his attorneys to prevent any message passing due to his previous escape attempt. Ultimately, the judge decided that Ebron was not allowed any visitors. Meanwhile, Lana was preparing for a custody battle for Lily, but unknowingly, she was heading towards more trouble. Shortly after being released on bail, Lana reconciled with her estranged husband, Christopher. The couple had planned to make some quick money by selling a synthetic drug named bath salts after attending a custody hearing for their daughter, Lily. Lana and Christopher headed to a Bakers County motel to carry out their plan. However, they were unaware that the entire transaction was being recorded. Consequently, they were arrested and faced multiple drug charges. Christopher received a 3-year sentence, while Lana was handed a longer sentence of 5 years. Both lost custody of Lily. Furthermore, Lana lost custody of her older daughter, whom she had during her teenage years. Both girls were taken in by their maternal grandmother. Lana's frequent encounters with the law led to her becoming a regular feature in the media. Her reckless lifestyle and behavior raised doubts about Lonzi's paternity. Despite Christopher's claims, a DNA test in December 2015 revealed that he was not Lonzi's biological father. The search for Lonzi, who went missing in July 2015, continued. A vigil was held on October 17, 2015, to mark what would have been his second birthday. By January 2016, 6 months after Lonzi's disappearance, the police were still waiting for Ebron to provide them with answers. Meanwhile, Lana entered a guilty plea for child neglect and falsifying information, resulting in 1 count each. In exchange for testifying against Ebron, she hoped to have her sentence reduced to a total of 5 years. Ultimately, she would spend 12 years behind bars. However, on January 11, 2016, the Lonzi Barton case took an unexpected turn. Fearing that Lana would shift all the blame onto him, Ebron decided to cooperate with investigators and lead them to Lonzi's remains. This moment brought a mix of emotions for the police, as they finally had the opportunity to provide closure to those who had tirelessly searched for Lonzi. Ebron guided the authorities to an area near Snyder Street, close to the Phillips Highway in Florida. Among some discarded tires, they discovered a black bin bag containing what appeared to be Lonzi Barton's remains. Ebron agreed to provide a detailed account of what truly happened to Lonzi. According to him, both he and Lana had placed Lonzi in the bathtub for a bath. However, they became distracted and forgot about the child in the tub while they engaged in other activities. When Lana eventually checked on Lonzi, she tragically found him drowned in the water. In a state of panic, they decided to cover up his death by burying his body in a remote location and staging a carjacking. Lana would continue with her daily routine, while Ebron stayed home to create an alibi in order to mislead investigators. Lana, however, maintained her innocence, claiming that Lonzi had overdosed on drugs provided by Ebron. The search for Lonzi had reached a devastating conclusion. Born on October 27, 2013, he tragically did not live to see his second birthday. In the hearts and minds of his mother and 2 older sisters, Lonzi would forever remain their baby. The identity of his biological father remains unknown. Despite the shock of this tragedy, investigators still needed to determine the cause of Lonzi's death. The skeletal remains were carefully examined in order to shed light on the possible cause. However, it remains unclear whether Lonzi drowned or suffered an accidental drug overdose. Lonzi's death was deemed inconclusive, but the medical examiner confirmed the presence of 8 blunt force trauma fractures on his rib cage and 2 blunt force skull fractures that likely occurred around the time of his passing. Lonzi was laid to rest on April 5, 2016, at Turner Cemetery in Glen St. Mary's, Florida. Both Lana and Christopher's defense teams had requested permission for both parents to attend their child's funeral. Following the funeral, they were both sent to serve their respective sentences in prison. Ebron honored the plea deal he made with prosecutors and subsequently led investigators to Lonzi Barton's remains. Ebron faced charges of aggravated manslaughter. During his trial in January 2016, Ebron's attorney, James Boyle, did not seem surprised by the autopsy report. Boyle highlighted in court that, according to Ebron's statements, Lonzi's autopsy should have shown signs of trauma inflicted by others. Boyle informed the court that Ebron had disclosed to him and the police that Lonzi returned from Bakers County with visible injuries. Ebron also mentioned to the police that he had taken photos of these injuries and revealed where he stored them on his phone. The prosecution's argument was clear-cut. They contended that Ebron bore responsibility for some, if not all, of Lonzi's injuries. Ebron had already admitted to child neglect, drug use in the presence of minors, providing false information about Lonzi's disappearance, and attempting to conceal Lonzi's death through deceit. The prosecution deemed his actions inexcusable. On February 5, 2016, Ebron received a 20-year prison sentence with no chance of parole. Following the case's conclusion, Reuben Ebron Sr., Ebron's father, shared his insights with the media regarding the investigation. He expressed his sympathy towards the family of Lonzi Barton and acknowledged the immense pain they had to endure. He further expressed his anger towards those individuals who were supposed to safeguard the child, but instead inflicted more harm upon him. He also commented on the unfortunate reality that Lonzi's time on Earth was filled with suffering, but he found solace in the belief that the child is now in a safer place. While he denied any responsibility on behalf of his son for Lonzi's untimely demise, he emphasized the need for a future review of Lana's punishment as well.